We've all had those moments where we see a sad looking plant and think to ourselves, maybe just one more watering, one more repot, perhaps some more fertilizer, but not today. I have a few plants that'll be hitting the garbage bin. They'll be going to the great greenhouse in the sky, and I'll tell you why. So let's check it out. There are endless reasons why a plant struggles, everything from neglect to pests to improper care, overwatering, improper soil, all that kind of stuff. But I still struggle with the thought of throwing out a plant like this global green pothos up here. But then I remember it's not worth investing any more time and energy into a plant that just doesn't look good or that I don't care about anymore. Now looking at this one from afar, you can see a couple little yellow leaves, and really it doesn't look that bad until you get close up. Over the last week or so, this plant has been just dropping so many leaves. Probably picked about 10 leaves off yesterday, but as you can see, there is yellowing leaves and damage. It just looks absolutely horrendous. Now as you look closer, you can see the ends, they're all brown and crispy. The leaves, they're not looking great at all, except the new one here. This one's looking beautiful. But as you continue to go through the plant, there's just droopy leaves, damaged leaves. And then, like I said, I've probably removed about 10 leaves from kind of the middle of the plant here. And the reason for this is pest damage. I made a video specific to never buying a trailing or vining plant again, simply for this reason, but I fell victim to the beautiful variegated leaves of the global green pothos, and I actually struggled with this plant a couple of years ago when they first came out, and I told myself I wasn't going to buy one again, but I'm just a sucker for these beautifully variegated leaves. But the problem with a large trailing plant like this is if you get thrips or some sort of pest, it's really difficult to treat because there's so many vines, there's so many leaves for the pest to hide that it makes it almost impossible to treat. Now I am in Canada and we do not have access to a product like systemic. It would be nice to have those systemic granules so you can put it in the soil. What they do is when you water the granules into the soil, the roots will take up that insecticide, I guess, and as an insect like a thrip, which sucks or it eats the juices of the leaves, once it ingests that insecticide, then ultimately they will die. So thrips have an interesting life cycle which will require you to do multiple treatments. I have treated this plant many times simply by spraying off the leaves, endless amounts of like insecticidal soap or a product like End All. Now over here, I'm gonna see if I can find some thrips on some leaves. So this is thrip damage here on one of my philodendrons. These little white things right there, I'm gonna see if I can get in nice and close. These little white things right there in the cracks of the leaf or in the little ridges or ripples, whatever you want to call them, those are thrips. Now these are, I don't know, I guess you can call them baby thrips or the nymph. I think they go through two different stages. So this is their feeding stage. Then they move on to a stage where they drop off into the soil, and this is where they start to mature and they can actually grow wings, I guess. I've never seen them fly, but then they reach the adult phase. So they do lay eggs in the tissue of the leaves and the stems. So that's what makes it so difficult to treat, is because after you apply treatment, they could just hatch like another batch of these thrips. So this one, although I've battled with it for quite some time, it's hitting the trash. Now this leaf is simply going to get cut off, but I like to squish them as well. This leaf will guaranteed have some thrip eggs in it. So all I'm gonna do is come on over here and snip that thing off, and it goes right in the trash along with this plant right here. Now I will say, if you're not entirely ready to part with this plant yet, you can always take propagations. Now you run the risk of obviously carrying on those thrips, but if you have a plant like this, you can rip off all of the leaves and just keep the stems. You can cut individual nodes like that, or you can even, what I've done a little while ago, is take cuttings. So this is the global green and this is the lemon meringue pothos. So yeah, I've just taken a couple individual cuttings, and you can start a whole new pot if you're not ready to completely get rid of it. So you can just cut these up. These individual nodes, will roots. So there's some roots, aerial roots right there, and they will push out their own new growth point right here. And I do have some examples right here. So these right here are alocasia, but this one right here is a monstera. Here's some philodendrons, or this might even be a pothos, but it's the same concept. You can take a node cutting and it will push out a new growth point. These are philodendrons here. I can't remember which variety it is. And this is another philodendron. So you can see these little growth points. It'll push out a new stem, getting new leaves and roots and all that kind of stuff. So if you're not ready to part with an entire plant, you can definitely take some cuttings and yeah, keep them in a little prop box like this. And then as they emerge, you can treat for insects and stuff as well. Now I'll probably get some comments saying I should give this plant away, and there's, people that will treat it and, rehab it and that sort of thing. But I do give these plants away to friends, but with this one specifically, I'm not going to, because it's obviously infested with a pest. And I guess if you're brave enough to put it on Facebook Marketplace, you can do that. But yeah, I'm not going to. So this one, I've taken some cuttings. I have some plants to keep, so I'm not getting rid of this plant entirely. It's just this one. It's just become too difficult to manage. Put it in the trash bag like this, and I'll keep the pot. And check out these roots. Spongy. Now for this one. I don't even remember which philodendron this is, but honestly, this strictly came from neglect. I had it over near my IKEA rustic cabinet. It wasn't really getting much light. I really didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And then I honestly just kind of forgot about it. And then one day I was looking at it and I thought, oop, that thing is a shriveled up raisin. So there is no saving this. I could have taken some individual node cuttings, put it in my prop box, but as you can see, it started looking really, really bad. I set it to the side, and honestly, I just forgot about it. So that is my loss. But yeah, it's not like I don't have enough plants to look after. So this one, it's not a heartbreaker, but it was definitely my fault. It really didn't have like any pest damage or anything like that. But yeah, it's not a complete loss. I'm not sad. So this one is going in the trash as well. Now next up is this fern. I don't even remember what this is. It's like a button fern or something like that. I promised myself I wasn't going to underwater it, and like within the first couple days, I let it get too dry. It got all crispy like this. I gave it some water and then it perked back up. So now this is the second time that I've let it get way too dry, but I'm not throwing it out for two reasons. One, I absolutely love ferns, and this is one that, as long as I keep an eye on it, I can take care of it. It will thrive. But I tend to let my plants get underwater. But if you look deep down in there is signs of new growth. These little things right there poking out are new fronds that are poking through the soil. So this one's not on the chopping block yet. There is hope for struggling plants in my collection, and this is one of them. Yeah, I'm not ready to give up on this one yet. This one right here is the Philodendron Golden Goddess, and I've actually had this one for quite some time. Now it came in Costa Farms, like full pot of this plant, and I've placed it on the moss pole. Now this is the bottom section, so I did chop the top recently, and the top cutting is right up here. So that one is thriving. It's consistently growing. But this one I wanted to keep as an example plant for like future videos and stuff like that. But as you can see, this one has succumbed to pest damage as well. So every single leaf has pest damage on it. And what I wanted to show in the video, which I'll show now, so when you chop the top off, it will activate nodes lower along the stem. So I'm actually quite surprised that this node, oh, it is activated. Right there. So you can see a little nub right there. There is a new growth point right here and one down there. So it looks like 3 nodes have been activated. Now in my experience, most times only one of these will survive. So it'll probably be this one up here. It'll start to push out new growth. And I do have an example with a Monstera that I recently cut up as well. So right back here, this is the Monstera cereana, and so is this one. So as you can see, I made the cut right there. It activated a node, and now it's pushing out a whole new stem with leaves. Now this is the first leaf to emerge after I made the cut, and you can see it went from having some fenestrations, so these slits in the leaves, to having no fenestrations. It looks like it is now got some more slits in the leaves. So that is kind of what to expect. And then the top cutting is continuing with the beautiful slits on the leaves. So that is an example of when you take a top cutting, the remaining portion or the bottom cut will eventually push out a new growth point. So I'm not sad to see this one go at all, just because I have one of these already. So this one, like I said, I had some plans for some content, but I can take some footage, like right now. I can show the little nodes, but this one will be hitting the garbage bin here right away. But yeah, every leaf just doesn't look good at all. So yeah, only invest the time and energy into a plant that you're willing to invest. So this one, I don't care about it anymore. I'm not going to give it away. It's going to go in the garbage bin. So don't ever feel bad if you have to throw out a plant, or if you're thinking of throwing out a plant. Just do it. You'll feel better and you won't have to think about it again. So it's your plant. Do with it what you want. If you want to give it away, like on Facebook Marketplace, or if you have friends that rehab stuff, or even if you place it outside for the summer. It's still a little bit cool outside right now that I can't take any plants outside, but yeah, don't feel bad if you have to throw out a plant or put it in the compost bin. Sometimes it can be a little therapeutic, just like winding up and just absolutely hucking them in the garbage bin. So I think that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave it down below in the comment section. Oh, I did want to use this here as well. Focus on plants that make you happy, like this one right here, this beautiful leaf on this allocation mint just came out. So that's what you should be focusing energy on, is plants that make you happy and enjoy. So thanks for watching this video. Take care, everyone. Bye.